Andy Biggs here from Arizona's 5th Congressional District. We are dealing with a crisis in our election integrity in this country. There are tens of millions of people who look at the last election and say, we just don't think it was fair or was conducted in a way that was transparent. They just don't trust that institution anymore. And I'm going to keep fighting to ensure that we have election integrity. So for instance, on January 6th, we're using our mechanism in the United States Congress, where the House and the Senate, through processes that were adopted and followed by Democrats in every presidential election this century, to object to sitting electors. And we're going to make our case. It will be the first time that the debate will be actually viewed by the entire country, or available to be viewed. With the folks on the left side of the media, the folks in the left stream, our Democrat colleagues, they don't want this debate to take place. We want the debate to take place. Let the American people decide. The American people have been contacting my office, asking us to continue to fight on January 6th and avail ourselves of this opportunity. One of the things that's striking about this in the 6 states that really are under question here is that while the presidential ballots look like there's some real significant issues there, the down ballots themselves seem to be consistent with what everyone expected, or at least within the realm. Even if they were unexpected, they were within the realm of real potential and possibility. But what we found in Arizona, for instance, one example is you had vote switching going on as they were reported, time-stamped, on, say, the day after the election. While they were counting elections, you found, in one instance, something like 60,000 ballots that were attributed to Donald Trump. And then almost immediately thereafter, the exact same number attributed to Joe Biden. And immediately thereafter, that same number removed or subtracted from President Trump. Those things are things that kind of give you pause, don't they? And so we're looking at that. There's a lot to be discussed. We're going to take it forward on January 6th, both in the House and the Senate. And I hope that you tune in, regardless of your position on this issue. Let us make our case and let us view it. The only way we're going to get back to having election integrity, where every legal vote counts and every illegal vote doesn't count, is through this debate that's going to be taken forward on January 6th. I'm going to add one more point here because I think this is salient. I think it's important to understand. Arizona has a constitutional right to set, by the legislature, to set the time, manner, and date of its election of federal officers. And Arizona did. And one of the things that they do as part of the manner of Article 1, Section 4 is they set the voter registration deadline. They set that deadline. Some folks came in, they filed suit just 5 days before that deadline and said, well, wait a second, because of COVID restrictions, we used to get 1,500 people a month in our organization alone to register. And now we're down to about 250, 280, whatever that number was. The reality is the lower court in the Ninth Circuit said, oh my goodness, we're going to extend that for 18 days so you could add something. That was totally arbitrary. They didn't say that our deadline was unconstitutional or anything. They just said, we're just going to allow this. The appellate court said, well, no, that's not true, because the deadline is constitutional. The deadline is appropriate. But, you know, we've already gone this far, so they extended and said, we're going to allow for a few more days. So you had at least 10 days beyond the voter registration deadline, and according to reports, we're talking about literally tens of thousands of people were registered to vote in those 10 days. You know what? The legislature sets the deadline. That's what Article 1, Section 4 says. It is not to be set by judicial fiat. In fact, the dissenting opinion from the appellate court said, you can't count anybody past the deadline, because both the majority opinion and the dissenting opinion agreed the deadline was appropriate. It was constitutional. It was legal in every way. But for some reason, judicial fiat came in and said, we're going to allow registration of tens of thousands of voters during this period. That doesn't work. It's unconstitutional, and it needs to be taken care of. I'll keep you posted. Hope to see you on January 6th.